Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
We accept a one of us. We accept a one of us.
Google gobble, we accept her, we accept her.
Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? How did you mess that up? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monster Candy Podcast. This week we are talking about 1932's Tod Browning's Freaks. I'm here with the completely silly Shotzi Blackheart, wrestler extraordinaire.
I'm freaking.
Screaming E from the Memphis Murder Men.
Hey, now here's something for your eye.
And me,
What is that?
Dominic Davey from Tsunami Bomb and 3 Gigs Podcast. We're here. It's a quote from the movie, goddammit.
Dummy.
Wait a second.
Okay. You know, you have the giggles like you're a little kid.
I haven't seen it in a while and I did not pay attention.
You
to
did.
it. No.
Listen. Today's a very important episode because we're talking about a classic. A completely abused classic that deserves to be talked about.
The best movie ever.
Is it though? I won't go that far. Let's not go too crazy.
The acting
Howard.
is superb.
Is it though? But before, as is the usual with us, before we get into that movie, we're going to talk about
Horror news.
You know, last time we did this, I was incredibly drunk, and I feel kind of bad about that. But this time, I came prepared.
I'm drunk off of hand sanitizer.
Okay, that's a problem that we're going to talk about off air. Because you need an intervention.
Intervention.
Me.
Okay.
Boy, this one's picking up where the other one left off.
It really is, but everyone's sober-ish. Does anybody have horror news, or should I lead off?
Dude, I got nothing.
I don't have shit.
Okay, well, starting from the top.
I got some horror news of my butthole.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to pause the podcast.
I just came back from Mexico, so.
Yeah, how was that trip? Left a mark on you?
My butthole. Left a mark on my butthole. Dude, they got toilet seats, no toilet paper anywhere. Whenever you're going out in Mexico, bring toilet paper. Number 1 rule. Number 1.
Did you have it with you, or were you caught?
Toilet paper.
What?
One of us. What did you bring? Did you have it with you, or were you caught unaware?
She's pooping in the streets.
Sometimes I would bring toilet paper, but other times I would forget to bring toilet paper, which sucks because the Mexican food was not agreeing with me, and I was shitting my brains out the entire trip.
I've known you for a minute now, and I can say that with a complete honesty based on our friendship, that you are your intestinal tract is very efficient and goes often.
Yeah, I poop a lot, and I'm telling you, for me, this was a lot of poop. Like, I pooped 3 times more poops than I pooped, which means that I was pooping just all day. Like, I didn't stop pooping. I was always pooping. Like, even during my wrestling matches.
She was a fiesta of poop.
Oh, yeah, all of the poop. Like, everyone kept being like, oh, where'd Stassi go? Oh, I'm in the fucking toilet where there's not a toilet seat, pooping
on the walls,
and wiping my poop off with my hands because I don't have toilet paper.
Could have gone the rest of the podcast without you sharing that part.
How's that for horror news, motherfuckers?
I totally gave you a high five when we came in, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and there was poop still on my hands from the Mexico trip.
She hasn't washed them since.
I haven't washed them.
You know,
that's her new thing. She just doesn't use toilet paper.
And the last time I came, we did a show. I was drunk, and you were accusing me of taking the show off the rails. And now we've talked about poop for a good.
Mexico gave me the pooping I deserved.
Well, welcome back.
Which will be included in the next movie, the pooping.
Yeah, the poopening.
I have to admit, that is truly a horrifying bit of news that you
Horrifying.
shared with everybody. Well,
Hey man, you gotta shit yourself sometimes.
did you guys, speaking of poop, did you guys hear about the new Death Note? Did you ever watch the Death Note series on Netflix? Anybody?
The series, no.
No?
I watched that dumb
That was
movie.
poop.
The Death Note movie?
The live
Yeah.
action one.
On Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're
Oh,
doing
that's not what you were talking
That's
about?
what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever watch the animated series
No.
or read the comic? It's really good manga, but they're doing a sequel of it because
Sick.
I wondered if you guys had checked it out and you guys didn't like it, but I wondered if you guys had an opinion about the whole whitewashing thing. But I think we've talked a lot about. You guys are having.
It's
a
an
moment.
inside thing.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I'll just sit here like the third wheel.
Sick.
I am. It's always good to be a third wheel on this show. So apparently they're making a sequel to that. I don't know how great that's going to be, but I wondered if you guys had seen it before.
I thought it was meh.
Yeah.
It started off really cool. Like, I was like, oh, sick. This devil guy, the demon
Porcupine
thing.
head dude.
Yeah, he was cool looking, you know?
Mhm.
I was behind that.
Yeah.
And then it got kind of lame.
Can I ask you this? As I'm gonna pull this card. As an Asian American woman,
Yes.
are you bothered at all by the fact that it was kind of like totally recast as like a blonde white kid in that?
No, because I don't give a fuck about any of that shit.
Yeah. No, I'm curious. That's why I
I
wanted to know.
don't.
You just don't care.
I mean, I just.
You didn't
I
care
mean,
about Ghost in the Shell or any of that shit. You don't give a shit.
No. No, I don't.
Your face as you like.
I don't. But I'm
Shotzi Blackheart's
probably.
American.
But I'm probably like the worst person to ask that because I don't care about any of that shit.
Well, no. I mean, if you don't care, you don't care.
I'm
That's
sure there's a
fine.
lot of people that did care though.
No, they're
But you
polite.
know what though? As
Yes.
like, the only reason I do kind of care is because I grew up acting and that was my first love.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to be in fucking on Broadway and be in movies and shit. And
I
like,
know that about you.
and then whenever I see, that they could have made an Asian cast and they just made it all white. I'm like, fuck, that's a fucking role that I could have had if I stuck with my dream. That they
That
didn't
was
give
kind
to
of my
someone.
question. A little
So I'm
bit.
like, oh, there's a little Shotzi floating around that didn't get that part.
Yeah. You could have totally been a major, like, for
Pooping
Ghost in the
herself.
Shell. You could have
Yeah,
played that part.
exactly.
Like, you could have killed that part.
Yeah,
You're super
exactly. Why
athletic
didn't they
and
cast
badass.
me?
Why
Yeah.
didn't they?
You know what? Now I am pissed off about it. You just made me realize that I'm pissed off about it.
I didn't mean to awaken
She doesn't
something
really
in you,
care.
but, like, you know.
You've
whatever.
awoke. I've been awoken.
You're woke? Are you woke now?
I'm woke, bitch.
And shook? Are you
Yeah,
shook
I'm
and
shook.
woke?
I'm all of it.
I'm Suge Knight.
On that note-
I'm as woke and shooken as my butthole was in Mexico.
Okay, now that I've woken Godzilla Beast for on this topic,
Woke in the butthole.
are you guys familiar with the book series Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yes.
Like, they were kind
A
of...
little bit.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yes,
Yep.
the series originally written by Alvin Schwartz has now been developed and is being developed into a movie that is starting filming by Guillermo del Toro.
Sick.
He's producing. It's going to be directed by Andre Ovredal.
That's fucking sick.
Ovredal. He directed Troll Hunter. I don't know if you ever saw that, but it was
Dude.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Apparently, it's going to be about teens solving a mystery from the sudden and macabre deaths in their small town.
So it's gonna be about teenage suicide. Don't do it.
I think it's going to be more than that. If I was to judge by the short
Shout out to Heathers.
You guys play video games?
I do not.
All right. Well, I do. And there's an H.P. Lovecraft influenced game, kind of an open world, called The Sinking City. And the trailer came out. It's being done by this company called Frogwares, who actually made a phone game that's it's super simple, called Badland. It kind of has a horror twist, but it's kind of neat. And it looks awesome. And everyone who does listen that likes to play video games should check it out.
Do you know what's a sinking city?
Coming out March 21st. Your butthole? Are you about to say your butthole?
God damn it.
Okay. March 21st, 2019. Go on an adventure as an investigator in the 1930s and exploring Shotzi's sinking butthole. And that's about what it looks like because there's a bunch of tentacle monsters that come out too. So that fits with what's probably up there. All right, last bit of horror news I have for today. I have a question for you guys.
So
Apparently,
many questions.
James Gunn. Did you hear about all that noise that happened around Guardians of the Galaxy's
No,
director?
what?
So
I always get James Gunn confused with Tim Gunn.
those are wildly different
Tim
people.
Gunn.
But just,
hey,
just
Tim
the
Gunn.
names.
He's
Just the
that
names.
guy in that fashion thing, right?
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
like
Yeah.
says he has like all the catchphrases.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lenny, that is exactly who it is. Would you like a cookie now? Yes. Tim Gunn is one of the mentors on
Yes.
Project Runway.
What are some of his catchphrases?
Make it work.
Eat a banana.
Make it work.
Yeah, not eat a banana. That's Shotzi Blackheart's.
Oh yeah.
Make it work, bitches.
Yeah. So James Gunn is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, but he was a horror director he originally started in Troma movies, and he did Slither, which is a badass movie. He did
Slither is sick.
Yeah, there's a couple other movies he did. So anyway, he was working for Disney doing Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and it blew up, and he wrote Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then when he got in a fight online with a bunch of conservative, like, super alt-righty guys about Trump and how they were, who they are, they went through his tweets and found a bunch of the jokes that he was doing when he was promoting a super edgy comedic blog.
The pedophile ones.
And it was all these just jokes about shit, and then he got fired by Disney, and that was that.
I mean,
and people
it was...
got really pissed about it, but
Yeah, I mean, it was a little more. It was a little more than just they were just jokes. I mean, they were pedophile jokes. Which, hey, man, I'm all for just fucking let it all out there. But
right, I wonder
probably
how you react to
not
this.
the best thing to put out there.
No, supposedly, and according to this, when he got the Disney job initially back a while back, he actually came out and formally apologized for all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
So
people
it was
should get over
technically
it.
public knowledge that it
But
was there, but people didn't realize.
Let's be honest. We're talking about fucking Disney.
Let's
So-
be honest.
So all you Disney lovers, Walt Disney was a fucking Nazi. So
No, not
yes,
Nazi,
he
but I
hated
mean,
Jews.
yeah,
He hated
did
Jews.
not like Jews.
Straight
He
up.
did not like Jews.
Well,
yes.
he definitely was. Yes.
So
I like how when people try to make excuses for stuff like this, like H.P. Lovecraft or Disney's certain views by Disney, it's like they were a product of their time.
yeah, well, it's a different time. Which, hey, man, I'm down with that fucking excuse. Whatever.
I'm
but
not.
when you start throwing, if you're gonna start doing shit, hey, you might want to look in your own closet before you start that stuff.
Well,
because
yeah, Disney is
build an empire
very
off
much
that.
aware of the of the times now and trying to adjust around it. But the horror impact of this, the reason I bring up all of this leading up, is that James Gunn's horror film, apparently that he did for Sony, is still set for release in November 30th. It was actually originally set for a Comic-Con in San Diego announcement, but got pulled when all that stuff happened. His appearance got pulled, so they didn't talk about what it was. But it looks like, according to Bloody Disgusting, it could be a film that he's producing that is being directed by David Yavarski, that's written by his brother and cousin, James Gunn's brother and cousin.
Tim
wrote
Gunn?
it. And and it's starring Elizabeth Banks, but that's all anybody knows about it. But apparently it's still coming out. And
well, fuck it. Let them fucking. I'm down.
I'm down
Let
too.
people fucking say whatever they want. I don't give a fuck. Say it. Say some fucked up shit. I don't care.
He didn't do anything to anybody.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't even fucking care about that. If
Yeah.
he did it, who fuck? I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
What?
I figured-
What?
I don't
If
care.
you did- No. No.
No, I mean the fucking tweets, dummy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he didn't do
I
anything
thought you were
to
saying
anybody.
that.
No, you
if
don't
he-
care
if
if
he-
he
No.
was a pedophile?
Yeah, you don't
no.
care if he was touching little kids. No, I would care.
Gigi Allen, man.
That I would care about.
That
but
would
he
I
didn't
would
do
care
it.
about.
You know, that's one of the reasons why, as much as I really loved, what's that horror movie? Jeepers Creepers. The guy who made that it was convicted and went to jail for abusing a child actor.
Well, he's not the first horror movie director to do some fucked up shit.
Right, but I mean, they kept giving him movies. He kept working on it once he got out, and Jeepers Creepers
Hey, man.
series is all from him. And I liked Jeepers Creepers, but
people still give
That's
Roman
fucking
Polanski a
creepy.
fucking
What was
standing
that whole-
ovation. So, you know, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world. So,
that's true.
fuck it all.
But at least, like, compared to all that, James Gunn didn't do anything to anybody. At least he's just fucking cracking
Yeah, no.
wise. Which I understand if you have... You're right. They are pretty extreme. He was definitely really going for it.
I mean,
But-
I don't care.
Yeah.
Disney shouldn't care. People should be a little more objective and be like, I mean, it was some fucked up shit, but I mean, if you don't want to go see his shit, then I mean, hey, I understand as a business, they're like, oh, that could really hurt us if you put this fucking movie out, and it was be like, no.
Yeah.
So I get it, but be fucking adults and understand he was just being a fucking idiot
Yeah.
and move on. And
Well, you know what's
Get over
interesting
it.
about it? Like, a lot of people haven't talked about this, but apparently there was a clause in his contract I read that they're using his script because he even wrote the parts for Guardians of the Galaxy in Infinity War movie. He came in and wrote those parts, but those scenes. But they're using his script. They're going to go with a different director. But apparently the clause was if they kicked him off like this, they had to pay him the entire salary they would have had to pay him anyway. So
Damn.
the man is a very rich man right now, already off
Yeah.
of what he did, and now he's getting paid just to go away, no matter what. So
Sick.
Streaming, he says, 2 tears in a bucket, fuck it.
okay,
But
I cannot wait to hear what this butt is.
I don't have any horror news, but I kind of do have some horror news.
Okay,
it's
let's
kind of not
hear it.
really related. I just want to say, Preacher is such a good fucking show.
Is it?
Yes,
I gave up on it.
dude, it's so. It's
But I
just,
gave up on it a long time ago.
yeah.
Maybe I
Stick
need to
with
give
it.
a chance.
Stick with it.
Screaming E is committed when he starts shit.
Stick with it.
Because I watched. The
I was
first
not into like the
episode.
comic book or anything. Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, whatever. And even the show, the first couple episodes are kind of like you're like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah,
in
stupid.
here? But it smooths out a little bit and gets good. Just the the characters are fucking gold. It's
Really?
it's like campy, but good campy.
I
There's
wanted
vampires,
it to be awesome.
you know what I mean?
I
Demons
wanted it
and
to
shit.
be amazing, and it seemed like it was a little shaky.
Dude,
I liked the first episode, and then from there it got a little like, you know, where are you going with this?
stay
but
with it.
You think
Stay
so?
with
Stay
it.
with
Like
it.
I mean, like I said, I never read the comic book, so I don't know how it is in relation to
I'll
that.
start it over again and watch it again.
But
I'll
just
catch
as a
up.
show, it's
What
like
season are they on?
3.
3?
Yeah,
I'll catch up. All right.
it kind of gets like it's almost like a live fucking Venture Brothers
That's high
TV show.
praise.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Have you been watching the new Venture
I
Brothers?
have, and it's
so
fucking
good.
awesome.
It's so
It
good.
is so good.
Yeah.
But like you get these fucking, I mean, Hitler's in it. They got the devil.
It's just kind of okay.
There's like batshit crazy stuff going on, but
Yeah.
it's funny.
That's awesome. All right.
So
Yeah, because
Preacher, check it out.
Comparing it to Venture Brothers is high praise. It's one of my favorite shows, and the 3 episodes of this current season 7 have like absolutely like blows your mind. If you haven't been watching the new Venture Brothers, it's like. But then again, I almost wonder if you haven't watched any of the Venture Brothers leading up. The one problem with Venture Brothers is that if you try to jump in now, it's almost like it's entertaining, but they are so self-referential. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of now made for fans of the show. It's like I wonder how great it's blowing my mind watching this show come back, but I'm almost wondering.
I feel like the last 2 seasons, like the last season and this current season, if you started it there, you can kind of
catch it
just go with it and be like, okay, this is
happening.
what they're doing. You know what I mean? I
guess
mean, there's
you
still references and stuff that.
Yeah, I
But-
guess you don't have the impact of how heavy how long it's been
Right.
with some of us not understanding
The
these
journey,
pieces,
yeah.
but the mysteries they're revealing aren't confusing to you if you were to jump right in.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching Castle Rock?
I haven't started it yet.
No, I
Everyone keeps
haven't
saying
either.
it's fucking awesome. Like,
That's the one I've been kind of obsessed with. I've been catching up on.
Yeah, my
and I really
trainers
like
were
it.
just telling me that I need to check it out.
It's not like horror like we usually cover because this is like monster candy, so we focus on a lot of monster stuff. It's more like a suspense, and it's like, but I really am enjoying the show, man. I think it's a really good one. I really do recommend it. So far, I've enjoyed the hell out of it. A lot of little references to the rest of the Stephen King universe, and
yeah, that's what people are saying.
yeah, but really well written and engaging, and I think it's a good show. It's interesting that Hulu also isn't allowing you to binge it. It's showing it once a week, like so every Wednesday night there's a new episode, and they're just saying, "Screw you, this is what's happening."
Has Hulu always been that way? Or they kind of or
feel-
did they have a Netflix formula?
I don't think they've ever had a Netflix
Oh, okay.
formula, but maybe. Nah,
I don't think
I
so.
think they've always kind of tried to be like a TV channel in a sense. I don't know. I think just as I like being able to binge stuff all at once, there's a certain charm to being able to watch like episodes every week too.
So let's recap. Shotzi's butthole did not agree with Mexico.
Yeah.
No.
And bring toilet paper with you when you go.
James Gunn is not
related
or
to-
related to Tim Gunn.
No.
Not as far as
And-
I'm aware, no.
Tweets pedophile jokes that are jokes
10 years ago, yeah.
that Disney kicked him off of the
But
thing.
10 years ago was such a different world,
And-
I feel like.
And Walt
That was
Disney's a
one of my
Nazi.
problems.
And Preacher's awesome. So we cover it.
Well, we also, Guillermo del Toro is
Oh, yeah,
doing
yeah.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie. Death Note's doing a sequel on Netflix, which is, is it really all that great? And the Sinking City video game looks badass. Everyone should check out.
Shotzi's
Especially
butthole.
like horror.
And, Blackheart Bash.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I can't believe we almost didn't
Yeah,
say
y'all
that.
almost skimmed over my shit.
Yeah. So why don't you talk about it?
So, 5th annual Blackheart Bash.
5 years, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Let me give them a little bit, because you
Okay.
guys have been throwing your own horror party.
Yeah.
A horror
Halloween.
Halloween celebration.
Yes.
The most rock
Every
and
year.
roll Halloween bash in the Bay.
In Oakland, California, every year.
Yes.
And I've attended almost all of them. And they're always awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's true.
this is the what? What did you say?
It's probably the best
5th annual.
5th annual one.
Yeah.
best Halloween party in the Bay Area.
I mean, you
just
have-
saying.
It's legit. It's a legit
legit.
party.
Naked chicks
Naked chicks and rock and roll. Like
and rock and roll. You have
Yeah.
the world's second greatest rock and roll band, the Memphis Murder Men, doing an all Misfits set because they do it the best. And I can
it's-
say that because I'm in the band
You are in the band.
and as a fan,
Yeah.
No.
we do the fucking
you
best.
You do pretty good.
You do a really
We
good
do the
version.
best.
Yeah,
there's
it is good.
there's a good video that floats around of y'all doing Last Caress, and it's
How'd they find it? Would they just look up
I don't
Memphis
know,
I don't
Murder Men,
know.
Blackheart Bash?
Oh yeah, I guess we'll post
We
it.
usually post it in the
You know what?
post something.
You know what? When you guys hear this, it'll be up on our Facebook page,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll do a video link on the.
But-
Instagram.
But it's
And Twitter.
cover bands,
Yeah.
burlesque. It's a fun Halloween
Awesome.
party.
This year we're gonna
That's
have
awesome.
have the Ramones again doing
Yeah.
doing Ramone songs,
Ramones.
which is fucking good.
And then we're gonna have Oingo Boingo.
but
doing,
not
but
Oingo
doing,
Boingo.
but doing Broingo.
Ah,
It's their drag set of Oingo Boingo.
I'm very fascinated.
Oingo
by
Boingo.
this. They're awesome. I remember seeing them before and being like really being an Oingo Boingo fan
Yes.
and very picky about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed with their show.
They're fun.
They are fun.
Yeah, so this year should be good.
I think.
Oh, and I mean, we were discussing.
And it's also my going away party
Yeah.
from California.
Hmm.
So.
Way to bring it down, bro.
Yeah. So everyone
What?
should come out.
That's a good way to get people to go.
You're,
Come
yeah,
on,
'cause you're
California.
relocating
You'll
out.
probably never see me again. So, get your ass
Ever.
out here. Ever.
Ever. Well, you're relocating out to
Indianapolis.
Yeah, because of
For wrestling.
Yeah, because you're getting to be all big time. It's awesome. Big time.
Big time, bitches.
So when is this happening?
October 12th
Oh my god.
at the Uptown.
Are you just gonna say everything?
Yeah, because
Alright.
you're taking too goddamn long.
I might even be hosting a special episode there. So if you come and you walk up to me and you say, "I love Monster Candy Podcast," I'll probably sit your ass down and talk to you about horror films during the course of the
Yeah.
evening. Because I'm going to do an episode where, while these two are running around like being the ringleaders they are for
Being
this amazing
awesome.
party, which I got to say, as somebody who has gone, who's just like shown up as their friend, I gotta say, it's a fucking cool party. I've had a great time every time. So I'm gonna be doing an episode, and if you are a fan of the podcast and you're in Oakland during October, you come up. Like I said, I'll put you on the show. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. I will do it. Test me.
I only do burlesque once a year.
It's true.
And it's for this, so if you want to see that, you gotta come to the show, because no one fucking records anything.
It is legit. Your burlesque.
Thank you.
It is truly.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's great. You do a great performance. I've seen you
I
sing.
use power tools.
You've actually
Last year was
sung.
pretty good, though. Last year was
Right?
probably
Last
my
year was really
favorite
good.
This was the
because
best one.
she killed it.
I'm doing
singing it and
something.
everything.
I'm doing something Tim Burton this year.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I'm not gonna say anything.
No, say nothing more.
But-
That's enough. That's
but-
awesome.
But it's gonna be Tim Burton themed. My act.
That's sick.
Yes.
All right.
Sick.
So, everyone should go. If we'll have information on our pages and on our site, and you should all check it out. Shotzi just dropped a pen because she's so excited. She tried to play it off, even though none of you can see her. That's interesting.
It's my pen pineapple.
Pineapple pen.
Pineapple pen.
Beautiful.
Oh, this
Pen
episode.
pineapple
Okay.
apple pen.
So check it out
Pen.
and check for the information. And
Pineapple.
You know, I know what you're doing. You know, Death Note. They had a Death Note version of that. where the
Really?
demon- yeah. Silly. Okay, so Freaks. We should talk about Freaks.
Shouldn't we end?
Freaks. Oh yeah.
We accept them.
Oh,
I already
this is
changed the
over.
channel. I was already.
Yeah, you've already moved on.
Yeah, I already moved on.
She starts off slow and then she just gets in the gear.
I don't know if you guys have seen Freaks, but you should, because it's a classic. But it's not necessarily without its troubles.
Like the acting.
Like the script, like the story being butchered.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay,
It was chopped up.
yeah. So
Like
this
edited.
movie was made by
Yes.
Tod Browning. And
Yes.
Tod Browning
Tell me the
is
story.
Tod Browning is the director most known for Dracula,
Yes.
which was awesome.
Sick.
Right.
Right.
He directed
In
Dracula.
London After Midnight.
Yeah, London After Midnight. He's got a lot of good movies. So 1931, he made
How does
Dracula.
anyone know that London After Midnight is good?
Well,
That it's missing. Who's seen London After Midnight? Isn't it missing?
I don't know. A bunch of people back in the 30s probably saw it. No, I'm just
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it missing?
Yeah, there's no footage of it.
No shit. I
Yeah.
bet it was rad.
Yeah, I mean like the stalker dude's cool looking.
Hmm.
I have a cool action
It's
figure of him.
supposed to be like the first appearance of like a vampire.
But it's gone. They're
Invitations.
missing. They're missing.
Yeah,
the-
there's nothing on it. Like there's
There's some
you know,
stills and shit.
Yeah, there's some stills, but no one's seen London After Midnight.
That's so crazy that's lost. It's
I
crazy
know,
to
isn't it
think about
sad?
that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So he directed Dracula, and Dracula became a huge hit. And basically they went, Tod Browning could write his own, like that was it. He could write his check. That was, whatever he wanted to do next, they were going to let him. That's how big of a hit it was. It was a blockbuster hit. And he wanted to do Freaks. And this movie was on the struggle bus from the very beginning because nobody was really happy with this, that he wanted to do this. Once they figured out what he was trying to do, and really, if you haven't seen it, he's showcasing circus freaks, quote unquote, and trying
Because
to kind of give their.
he was a part of the circus, right?
He grew up in the circus as a clown and a contortionist.
That's really cool.
I think so too. So he wanted to do a movie kind of told from their perspective that kind of showcases another side of things,
Right.
and showcases how normal people were kind of the real freaks.
Yeah.
But it didn't go over all that well for the 1930s.
Yeah. No one wanted to accept that.
So when it came out to mixed reviews. Technically speaking, it was shown in one theater on opening night, January 28th, 1932 in San Diego at I think it was the Lions Theater. It was a huge hit. There was lines around the block, and they showed it for a few, for the weekend before MGM pulled it and recut it to what you see today. Now,
Is there an uncut version out there?
no, but it seems like some people know what happened because they've talked about it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's got to be something out there.
the main thread is about a circus dwarf
Mm-hmm.
who falls in love with
An acrobat.
an acrobat, and she is not quite morally.
Cunt.
I would not have used that. I would say
I'll
not
say
morally upstanding.
She's a cunt.
She's trying to get at his money, and then it's like with the help of the strongman, and let's just say it goes bad from there. So, but it's a very simplified story. Apparently, it was a much more layered story and a lot more subplots going on, right?
Yeah. From what I've gathered, maybe not so much subplots, but just more
Depth.
in the movie. Yeah, like cutting to different scenes, stuff like that they just kind of cut out, or cut out certain dialogue So some of it doesn't make sense. Some of it you wouldn't really know there was something more to it. Some of it was not like as appropriate
to their eyes. They felt like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
were offended even by the looks of the quote unquote freaks here, and they got mad. I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, because I mean they changed some of the dialogue too, like when what's her name, the half man half woman,
right.
it was walking by and the
Walking by the one of the clowns and the strong
song
man
man,
Hercules.
yeah, but he says, you know, he says something about her.
So I think she likes you, but
He
don't.
doesn't, yeah, and
clown
like
says
the
that
original
too, yeah.
line was, I don't know if I want to kill him or kiss her, and they're
Right.
like, whoa,
That's too heavy-handed.
that's too much, so they change it. Or and then when she's also doing her nose, like her fixing her makeup, and the strong man comes out, and the whole line was supposed to be, you're fixing your nose, now here's something for your eye, which is my favorite scene in the whole movie because I think it's fucking hilarious. But they cut it, so it's just, now here's something for your eye, which kind of makes it funnier
It's just random.
because it's so random. You're like, what? That's
Yeah.
why I like, because it's just like out of left field.
It
like, what the
definitely
fuck?
it definitely feels choppy at times. The
Yeah.
story.
Well, you could totally tell when in the editing, like it'll cut. Like
Right.
there's like hard cuts.
How
to
long
It.
is this movie?
10 minutes. Jesus, it's really short.
Yeah.
After it's all said and done. I was blown away to find out that originally they wanted to cast, or they almost casted, one of my favorite actresses of all time, Myrna Loy, who at the time, people might be able to find her. I really recommend checking out, if you guys are in the mood for an old classic series. It's awesome. It's called Thin Man. It's a detective mystery. Absolutely amazing. And Myrna Loy is amazing in it. And she was supposed to play Cleopatra, the morally questionable acrobat, which is crazy because most of the time she would play a good guy and a good character. So I'd never seen her play a villain. So that would be really interesting to have. I would have loved to have seen that, but she found the script offensive and didn't want to do it. They also had a very popular actor at the time, basically an all-star cast that would have been Victor McLaughlin, I think his name. He would have been Hercules, and Jean Harlow would have played Venus. Who? What does she do in the circus? She's I can't remember what she does. She's the one that falls in love with the clown, and she's like a good person. She's not really one of the freaks, but she's definitely in the crew. She's definitely a carny. But that would have been Jean Harlow. But all of them didn't want to be billed as sideshow people, so they were like, they all bailed.
Yeah, even her part gets cut up a little bit.
Like a lot, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's a really choppy, her love interest with the new clown. It just sort of kind of happens.
Frozo, yeah.
Frozo, that's his name.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was definitely butchered, so it's unfortunate.
Oh, it ruined Tod Browning's career. After this, he did, like, 4 more films and then retired in 1939 and lived a life of seclusion afterwards. Like, this really broke his heart.
Wow.
Like, they fucked him up on
And it was
this.
probably like the one film that he was most excited about.
It was. He was really passionate about it.
Yes.
Started gaining more acceptance in like the 60s when they showed it at some film festival.
Is
Everyone's
that
like,
how it
oh
did?
shit! Oh,
It's
this
just
is
a
fucking
shame
awesome.
that they couldn't.
Get the original cut.
Yeah.
I bet it was a better movie. Dracula was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely
But I love Freak, so.
darker.
It's just a simple story, I think. That's my only problem with it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, even if the full version, they would have kept it just for what it was, I don't think it would have helped him at all. You know what I mean? It probably would have been a better movie for us now. but
Right.
Then they'd probably be like, you know.
Well, they were. A lot of people seem like they. I read that people were offended that they were like even how he treated, how he presented. His whole point was being how human the freaks were and how freakish the normal people were, and people were straight up offended by that, like outright just pissed that he even did that. And in fact, while filming it, I kind of think, dude, everyone at MGM at the time were a bunch of assholes. Because, like, I saw tidbits on this that, like, they protested the film a bunch of the people working there and thought that the freaks made them all uncomfortable and made them sick, and they protested it so much they had to give the more extreme performers their own makeshift table outside to eat lunch, and only the more human-looking ones were allowed in. And like F. Scott Fitzgerald was actually the writer, was actually in the writing department at the time, and he saw the Hilton sisters, the Siamese twins, and he's talked about how he watched one reading the menu and the other one understanding the menu without looking at it while ordering, and it made him feel sick, and he just couldn't eat with her and couldn't eat in there and had to leave. And I'm just like, you guys are all a bunch of bitches.
It's like an X-Men episode or a comic book.
Okay, but it's just like shocking to me. It's like, Jesus, what sensitive sensibilities you must have to sit there and go, oh, it's gross.
Hey, man. It's a different time, bro.
Is it, though? I mean, we're all surrounded by a bunch of weak-ass assholes now, so that are,
Offended by everything. All I gotta say is women are evil and men are stupid, which is basically the moral of this fucking movie.
Wow. You just, women are evil and men are stupid.
Yeah. Because you got Hans being, oh my god, this hot chick, do whatever. Oh. And then some evil bitch like, oh, I'm gonna fucking poison you and try and kill you and take your fucking fortune and everything.
It does. I guess you could sum up that men are stupid and women are evil.
Yeah.
There's a good woman and there are good, not
it's true,
good men in
but
the movie.
For this story, it is definitely that.
You know what surprised me, and maybe it didn't surprise you guys, but I had no idea that the main, for lack of a better term, I don't know what else to use, pinhead freak. There's 3, and the Schlitzie, who literally has actually become it's a he.
Yes.
Which is what I was shocked about, because as a her image has gone on beyond freaks and has been used many places, including American Horror Story.
Yeah.
And has been used in a bunch of different, I've seen in comics and imagery and all sorts of stuff. And it's crazy to me to find out that it was really like they had him dressed in a dress because it made it easier for hygiene for him. But at the same time, like, he has become kind of this like iconic character that's recognizable. Like, people would if you showed people, especially in like punk rock and counterculture, a picture of him, they would know exactly who he is. But without even maybe realizing that he's from Freaks.
When I was younger, I was super confused because naturally I was like
super attracted.
I was like, fuck, I'd love a foursome with me and the 3 pinheads. But that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, even before then, like, I naturally thought it was a woman. Mm-hmm. It's,
well, they say she's
right.
It's a woman, and she's.
And then I heard, oh no, it wasn't, because the name, and this was all like still while the internet was fairly new, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go on the internet and search whatever. But so it always confused me. I'm like, was the actor, was it a boy or a guy or a girl? Like, because people would tell, I think people were confused on what the actor.
Yeah, it's just the only reason it matters at all is because I was just shocked. Like, I had no idea about that character, and I knew that character's likeness has gone on.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
So many things
for seeing it before I even saw the movie,
right? And then go, oh no shit! Like, it's no big deal. Like, a person's gender it can be anybody they want. Nobody has any problem with that. That's not what we're trying to say. It's just was fascinating to find out. Like, no, that was a man. That was a man.
But I think a lot of
male
people,
performer.
I think a lot of people were.
I had no idea.
Not aware.
Do you think they just made him a girl in the movie because of the dress? Is that simple? Probably that time. That's that simple.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I think that's all it was. Like you said,
make it less
for hygiene.
confusing.
To go along with the other two.
It was just interesting to find out. Like, and it's interesting, of all the characters from this movie, that's the character that went on to become such an iconic visual of this movie. Like, his likeness has sponsored it on. You know? I mean,
like the Ramones.
See, they even used it.
Did they?
The whole Pinhead. Yeah, I mean, they have a song. I don't want to be Pinhead.
Yeah, it's actually.
And it comes out with the whole Gabba Gabba Hey, and the Pinhead comes out, dances
That's
around.
true.
So it's
That's crazy to me that just
influenced
that he caught
a lot
on.
of
Like,
things. Yeah.
I mean, he would. There's no way that he would have known how far he went. You know, like after like all these
Or
years,
how
long
important he
after I
was to a
gone.
lot of other genres of just art in
Yeah.
general.
It's crazy. That's a crazy thought. Like he had no idea when he was doing this. Like nobody around him would have had any idea that he would go on. I mean, poor Tod Browning didn't know what was gonna come out of this.
Yeah, no.
Of the performers though, most of them were not happy with this. Actually, when it was all said and done, Olga,
bearded
Roderick, the bearded lady, disowned it, denounced it, and regretted doing it.
Well, I heard she was the one that I read. She was the one mostly that was like really bummed out about it.
Really?
But I heard she was like such a drag to work with during the whole thing, you know. And everyone else was kind of like, "Oh, it's what we do."
Yeah, it sounds like
But-
she was just unhappy.
Yeah. But
Oh.
speaking of actors, fucking Master Blaster is in it.
Dude, that shocked the hell out
I
of me.
remember you saying that.
Yeah, I was like, I've seen this film, and I watched it with E while you were on tour, and I swear I was like looking at the guy who plays what's his name, Angelino. Was it Angelino?
Rosito.
Angelino. And I
Angelo
was looking at him,
Rosito.
and I was like, he looks really familiar, but I couldn't place it, and I couldn't think of what it was, and it's like a young master from Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah. He was the first guy when I
He's
saw this.
Master. I'm Master.
I was like,
I haven't seen that.
I was
so-
like, what?
You haven't seen Beyond Thunderdome?
No.
Mad Max Beyond
Dude,
Thunderdome?
one of these days we should have a Mad Max like
I haven't seen it.
we could do a podcast on the Mad Max series.
That
Have
first
you seen
one-
any of the Mad Maxes?
Yeah.
First one is just a clusterfuck of things.
I love the first one though. I love these movies. Like you get me started on Mad Max, I'm way into them. All of them, every one of them. I'll take them. That's Beyond Thunderdome's the most obnoxious to me. First one is just
Second one's my Road Warrior.
madness.
It's one that makes the most sense.
Is that
to
the
me.
one that we watched?
Yeah.
Yeah. with Humongous.
We watched the first one too.
Do you know
Oh.
that Humongous originally was intended to be Goose from the
Really?
first one, but then they kind of changed it. But the thing they left in is when Humongous pulls out a revolver, it's a police revolver.
I
that
love
Goose
that
had.
name.
Humongous.
Humongous. I want to name my balls Humongous.
They already
Humongous
are.
balls.
They already are.
Humongous.
And Fury Road. Like I love the Mad Max series. So we should do a podcast on that one day.
But yeah, he was the first guy when I saw this movie. I recognized him right away.
You
I'm
recognize
like,
him right away?
I was like, dude, is that fucking Master? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it was. I was like, wow. Because I was like, how fucking old is this guy? Because he looks old there, like fairly old, you know. And you know, Beyond Thunderdome, he's still old looking. I'm like,
I will never forget. Like he's Blaster. I'm Master.
he was also in Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Was he?
Dude, why can't I find that fucking movie anywhere?
You know, it's funny you say that. There was a couple times I looked for that movie.
Dude,
I didn't
I've
see it.
been
I bet it's somewhere
searching.
now, though, right?
I've been searching and searching.
you
I can't find
you were
it
looking
anywhere.
for a DVD?
DVD or just it online, anything.
It's probably one of my favorite Disney
I
movies.
can't.
It's
good
fucking
Disney movie.
creepy.
I haven't seen it in years.
I used to see it all the
Yeah.
time. They used to play it all the time on like the Sunday movies
Yeah.
or whatever. It'd be on there all the time. I'm like, this thing is fucking creepy.
They've tried, like Disney's tried a couple times over the years to be dark, and it never really works for them. So they kind of bear like the Black Cauldron. You guys remember that? And
Yeah.
it's just, that was so good,
Yeah.
but like it didn't do well because people just there's not a princess in it. Nobody loved it. Like that was that. So it's like every time they've tried to be dark, they've kind of been spanked. I don't know how well that movie did, but I remember liking it when I was a kid. I just haven't
Yeah.
seen it in so long. I don't even remember the plot. Is that the one with the two kids?
Yeah, it's two kids in the
No, that's the
carnival.
Witch River Mountain. What about the?
Well, there were two kids in there.
What is the one about the kids from the mountain that they might be aliens?
Race to
they
Witch
have
Mountain.
powers?
Race to Witch Mountain.
Race to Witch
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yeah.
That was a good one too.
That was a good one. They did a remake of it with
The
The
Rock.
Rock.
I
Yeah.
purposely ignored that.
You
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
little bits of it, and it was
Yeah.
really dumb.
I didn't.
No,
bother.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Something Wicked This Way Comes. Well, there's two. There's the '70s version and then like the early '80s version.
Yeah.
Both are pretty good, but
I just want to
it's
see any of
just
them.
fucking creepy. And I
I
remember,
remember
that as like a little
watching
kid. I'm
it,
like,
yeah, and being weirded out, but I don't know. I can't remember anything of what it's about.
Disney vaults their stuff for a
They
while,
do.
and then they
They
bring it
do.
out, and then they vault it again.
Maybe that's why I can't find it.
Probably, but I mean, there's got to be something.
yeah.
around.
I mean, I
Yeah.
remember you used to be able to rent it on VHS.
I know that it was out, so there's ways to get it. I'm gonna look it up.
Of course
right now
there
while we're
is,
talking
but-
and see where it is.
And another thing, could we talk about Frida's clothing? Hans's wife. It's a cute. She's the best dressed in this whole fucking movie.
It's a book.
She's got the
Oh
cutest
yes.
clothes.
Yeah.
Like, and me as a vintage guy.
Yeah. Do you like the stuff?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. 1962 dark fantasy novel by Ray Bradbury. I didn't even remember that. I'm gonna have to read that book. That's amazing.
I need a bite of a pizza.
Yeah, get some pizza. Podcast pizza.
DVD.
Break.
Oh, this is the 80s one.
Which that's one Rosito's in.
Huh.
Yeah, there's
What's it about?
a carnival, a demonic carnival, basically.
This one looks like a much more. There's a DVD out for $7.99 that looks like a really.
Yeah,
recent one.
there's a few different. They're actually remaking. Well, maybe we'll save that for a horror news next time.
1983 is the one we're looking for.
Yeah, there's been a few remakes. When I looked it up on IMDb not too long
That's
ago.
crazy.
But-
I haven't thought about that movie in forever. Looks like there's some YouTube. It's out there.
No, those YouTube things are shit.
Yeah.
I tried watching it and it's all lies.
Yeah, they don't have they're just not there, man. This is only this more recent one that they did.
I know, bro.
That's crazy. You're right. You just can't find it. They have the 2004 version out. That's it.
Yeah, fuck that.
I didn't know there was a 2004 version.
Neither
Can
did
you
I.
watch VHS?
Yeah?
I bet you can get the VHS. So, well, I don't know, there you go. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Not is definitely a hidden film.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, this movie, it's kind of a heartbreaker. I remember I did find out the original ending was supposed to feature Hercules castrated singing soprano next to the mutilated Cleopatra.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few different things
And I
that
guess
were
people were super
supposed
offended by
to
that
be
too.
the ending.
Well, right on.
Because it was supposed to also show Hans joining in with the killing of, or the
It kind of
Mutilation.
deforming.
He kind of runs up on the side with them. There's one scene where he's moving up
Yeah.
underneath the trailer.
Did you know that he was in the Lollipop Guild?
He was in the Lollipop Guild?
Yeah.
Hans?
Yeah, he was one of the three main guys that.
The representatives.
Yeah, the representatives.
No kidding.
Yeah, he
That makes
was
sense.
the one. If you're watching,
Mm-hmm.
all the way to your right.
So
Yeah,
Wizard
with
of Oz,
the
when
like
you watch the
split
three of them,
hair.
when the three of them walk up,
Yeah,
Hans is
yeah.
on
They
the
sing.
side.
Yeah, he's
No kidding.
on the right. Yeah.
I found I had a little sympathy for them, like, because he's so restrained with his love interest. What's her name? It was his
Cleopatra?
sister. His
Oh,
actual
Frida.
like Frida
Yeah.
is actually his sister Daisy.
Yeah.
Earls.
Yeah.
What's their name? Harry and Daisy Earls.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, I one time got cast in a play for Sweeney Todd, and my sister got cast as my love interest in the version of the play, the daughter of Sweeney Todd in the main story. This version, it was a love interest, and that ended up going. That part went to my daughter. Let me say that again. I don't have a daughter. That part went to my sister.
That knows of.
So there was this big joke that I was like, Like, literally, the girl I was pursuing as a villainous Sweeney Todd that I was into was actually being played by my sister. So, and we were very, very reserved as well. Because it's like, yeah, no, it's not. She definitely did a good job showing that she was not into Sweeney Todd in that role, since it was her older brother playing the part. So I feel you, Harry.
Well, there was
Daisy. I know what it's like.
Like the part where they got to Cleopatra too, because I mean, there's supposed to show like a tree falling on her legs.
Oh, really?
And that's why she doesn't have any legs as a duck or whatever. And then they throw tar on or feathers, and they actually.
Oh, they show the process, because I did feel like it was like random. Like what they're like chasing after them with knives, and then I'm like, what? They have magic powers turned her into a bird?
Yeah, but they, I guess that what got cut out, that. But I kind of like not knowing what happened. You're kind of like,
where it gets revealed at the end.
Whoa, what'd they do to her? Did the power of the freaks turn her into a chicken or a duck or whatever? Or how did that happen? So, I mean, both are cool in their own right, but
I would rather have seen it.
Yeah,
you'd rather see it. It was crazy. I mean, I that's interesting to hear that there was actually a process in the movie. Man, they really butchered this movie.
Yeah,
it was just too ahead of its time in some ways, and I really don't think. What bothers me is it's not that people found it offensive because it was treating freaks bad. It was offensive to people because it showed freaks at all.
Yeah, well,
that's why it was offensive. That's why they didn't want it.
In the 30s, people are gonna be fucking weird and be like, "Oh my god, what's that?"
People are weird now, man.
But there's also, I found this out watching the commentary on the DVD that I have. When they're in the circus and the strongman and everyone, they're playing cards, and Cleopatra's cleaning her or doing whatever on her thing, and Hans is
just staring.
Yeah, and then they say something, and he goes over to him and like loses it. I always thought it was some German shit because it doesn't sound like English at all, but it actually is English.
Oh,
it's just him, having a German accent, being little, like just everything about the whole. His speech and everything just makes it come out sounding not like English at all. He actually says, "What have you on your shoulders for heads? Swill pails?"
What's a swill pail? Oh, swill. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like spit.
Yeah. I just thought he was like, because I was like, that's all I fucking heard, and that's what most people hear.
Right.
But yeah, he
actually had.
It's English. He's just.
I don't think I caught it at all. Like what he was saying, I was just like, oh, I didn't get that. But
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess that's German.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I like this movie.
I do too. This movie's kind of a.
I'd love it.
It's kind of a what's it called? Like the more you learn about it, the more you learn what it went through, the more you're like, whoa, there's a lot to this. I mean, this ruined a man's career who was like epic, and all he was trying to do was show a story and show highlight on people who were different, which was kind of a running theme in his career. But this backfired so spectacularly. His career, he did 4 more films, but he was just clearly just not into it, and he didn't have the same. I mean, I don't want to say it ruined him, but he walked away.
I think that's the consensus for most people in that industry, is it sunk his ship. But hey, man, sometimes you don't get noticed for your shit until long time after. So,
wow,
yeah, it's a cool movie. It's got some cool freaks in there. Freaks in quotations.
Freaks. I thought it was. I don't know. I mean, American Horror Story paid tribute to it in one of its worst seasons that was so disappointing. But it started
you
so
didn't
strong.
Like it?
Carnival? Is that what it was called?
I don't know.
American Horror Story?
Was it
Carnival?
Freaks or was it
Carnival?
Or was it Carnival?
I thought when it started, the intro to it is amazing. I was so excited because it was going to be based off Freaks. And then for the first, so many episodes, I was way in. And then it just...
took a shit.
It focused on Dandy. And then it took the focus off Twisty. Who Twisty was amazing.
I'm so glad that you hated it.
It makes me so mad.
This makes me so happy.
I stopped watching it.
Yes,
I was like, that. It's the only one that I was like, nope.
Fuck
give. This is bullshit. It's getting worse.
Tell me about it, Dom.
Like everything that they went on, like it just. I was so mad about it. I couldn't even stand it. And it could have been good. You
Yeah.
didn't like that one either?
No. Mm-mm.
It's a pile of donkey shit, is what it is.
It was.
I don't like it. I mean, it goes with the same structure that I feel for every season of American Horror Story, where I like the first few episodes and then it goes to donkey shits.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Roanoke.
I'm watching that now.
Yeah?
I'm currently watching that now.
Do you like it?
So far, so good. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I'm deep in the... I'm
Yeah.
still in the episodes of them, like, trying to figure out what's going on.
It still goes to shit at some point, but
They all
it
do.
takes a lot longer for it to go to shit this season.
Why does American Horror Story have that problem?
I don't know. Their formula is very wacky.
It doesn't make sense to me because it's like when it's good, it's so good,
Yeah.
and then they just every season like
It just
lose their
yeah.
way. I don't know anybody that doesn't want to
just
throw
like,
a rock at the screen along the way. And like Carnival, like I said, I did the equivalent. If I had had a coffee table in front of me, I'd have flipped it and walked away. I was so pissed off.
Well, don't
It
worry.
was such a
Yes,
good
first
idea.
season.
The next season's gonna be great.
Oh,
Fucking Lady Gaga's back involved with it, so.
I actually like Lady Gaga. You don't like her?
I mean,
No, I mean I like her, but
yeah, I
what
love
she does
Lady
with
Gaga.
with that, I was not into her whole season.
The Hotel? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
hers?
she just is always a weird character.
I just feel like it's gonna be like
She shows up in Roanoke too, and her
Yeah.
character's also fucking weird, and she's the reason the season just goes off the rails.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna end up being like uber sexual, like randomly about shit and just being
Yeah.
trying to be weird.
I
and,
didn't.
like,
I didn't
just wish she
mind
would
her
be in Roanoke.
vampire. I didn't mind her vampire.
Yeah, I
but
didn't watch enough of
In
that
Hotel?
to dictate. Yeah, I watched
Hotel
2
was-
episodes and I was like,
You're like, no.
I couldn't.
Actually, Hotel is one that I don't mind as much, even though there's some things that I'm like, wait, what? But my favorite, I think we've talked about this before. My favorite is Coven.
Yes, mine too.
Not that it's not without its problems.
Yes,
But
true.
it's the most
So fun.
sensible one. And again, yeah, we've talked about this because you love
Yeah.
witches, and I
Yeah,
love that
witches.
episode. I like witches.
Witches, bitches. Can we talk about Daisy and Violet real quick?
I'm Daisy, I'm Violet, we're Siamese twins. One of my favorite musicals is Sideshow, and it's all about Daisy and Violet,
Really?
the Siamese twins.
Of this movie.
Mhm.
They,
I didn't even know
they
that.
stole it from this movie. Did you know that Daisy and Violet was sold at birth to the carnival?
What?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah.
that fucked?
There's a whole bunch of fucking
Yeah.
going on.
But I mean,
around
they
these
were
poor
pretty
people.
successful though.
They were, and like their whole like, you need to watch Sideshow. It's so good because it's like it's pretty accurate to like actual Daisy and Violet, but like yeah, they were.
What happened to them?
I think they just faded into obscurity.
Yeah,
But I mean,
and they were involved in like really weird marriages and stuff, and
Really, like the,
Yeah.
the kind of the way they play off the relationships. The two suitors in this is kind of like accurate. Like they were both married to
Yeah.
different people or something.
because I mean they did one like could play the saxophone, the other one I forget what her talent was, but they would do a bunch of acts and shit like that, and like I mean they were pretty successful. That's why they got in to the movie.
I'm surprised, just because I've seen some Siamese twins in the past, and usually they have some physical difficulties. Let's say that of how like normal they are, other than just joined at the hip. They seem to just they were joined at the hip, right?
Yeah.
It looks like that's what
Yes.
it looks like. Do they have each 2 legs or so 4 total?
There's 4.
Okay, so man, it must have
Yeah.
been a. Could you imagine? Like, I mean, they don't know anything. It's their lives, but it's like, what a
Having
fascinating
to take
way
a
to
shit
exist.
while
They never be
someone's
alone,
on their hip.
and I mean, to be sold,
yeah.
like,
Here, circus.
They probably had like a way better successful life that way though.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's kind of a crapshoot at that
No,
point.
I
It's
mean-
like,
I don't know, I'd love to have been sold to the circus at birth. I wish that was my story.
I don't know, man. I've read a lot about how circuses and carnivals worked, and it was pretty ugly. I mean, like, if you got fired, they didn't even let you get to the next station. Like, they'd throw you off the train.
Ah,
Like, it was, like, burly how they treated people.
right.
But, I mean, like, they would have been guaranteed a place on it because they were never... It's not like their act was ever going to get old. They are 2 Siamese twin women who are attractive, and that so they're on board. Like no one's getting rid of that. But like for another poor bastard that like, oh, your act's old, we're done with you. Like they throw you from a moving train. They wouldn't let you get off or quit. They fire you by literally picking you up and tossing you off because they don't want to deal with having to pay you anymore.
Wow.
Like there's all sorts of stories. You should read about do some reading on like 1930s circuses and carnivals and like what that life was like, and it's like holy shit. But I have one for you guys. I spent 3 days with the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a friend who was an acrobat, and she was kind enough to let me visit and stay with her for like 2 or 3 days while they were performing in like the Upper East Coast. So I got to hang out with the circus for a few days and watch the performance and meet some people and really check it all out. She had to get special permission to let me even be there. It was crazy. Their lives are nuts. Like it's still kind of heavy-handed. Like you could be let go at any time for anything. They don't throw you from the train anymore, so that's nice. But like it's like seriously
there's
like
rules now.
Yeah, there's rules now, but like not much. Like they're pretty much slaves to it. Like
Right.
I was sitting there listening to how they have to do like they're expected to show up at this time, and they had to go there. They have to get up early, and they had to be in costume to do like a press, and then they have to run over here. Like they have to jump through all these hoops, and they can't gain weight. You know, like they have to watch their figures. They have to like all this like spectacular crazy rules. And I remember telling them I was telling them stories about being on Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Or, like being a punk band on Warped Tour, because
Yeah.
the Warped Tour was the closest thing I had to what this was. And they're like, so do you have to like get up at a call time? I was like, fuck no, you only have to show up in time to play your show. And then after that, everyone can fuck off. And they're like, whoa, that's cool. Because they are like not allowed to do anything.
That reminds me of musical theater. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, it was crazy. And their apartments in the train, like these in Freaks, they show these each one getting a trailer. Like this was like compartments in a train that was like the size of this little nook right here that we're in. And that's all you had. Like it was the most uncomfortable couple days. I was with a very good friend who's absolutely gorgeous. She's amazing, and I'm sleeping in the same bunk with her. She's stunning, and I am miserable because I can barely fit in this little thing with her, and I can't imagine how uncomfortable she was with me just in her face after the initial thing wore off. But it was amazing to travel with the circus and see how they
I
act.
would love to.
Like she was super into the clowns, and she said like, yeah, the clowns hook up with everybody, and I was like, I'm not saying that clowns make me uncomfortable, but clowns kind of made me uncomfortable. They come up and be like, yeah, and I was just like, oh dude, get away from me. Or, seriously, I'm not interested.
Do
and
clowns
like,
have a lot of energy?
She said, yeah, and she said that those
They're
were
all
the fun.
gacked out on coke.
They were the super fun ones, and they
Are
get
they?
hooked up. And she showed me she showed me like the brochure that everybody gets, like the little pamphlet, like it has all the stuff, and she was all stoked because she was like on the back. And she was one of the acrobats. And so she shows me this, and I'm looking at it, and she goes, okay, so he got kicked off for being drunk one night, and she got pregnant, and she got pregnant, and she got pregnant, and then he got caught doing drugs, and then he was fired because he was late 3 times. And I was like, is there anybody on the front of this cover that's still in the show? And she's like, that one guy in the back. Like, but everyone else had been fired and replaced, like, long ago. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Your guys' life is nuts. She's like, would you ever do it? And I was like, no way. Yeah, that and my like oldest best friend at one point ran off and joined the circus as a carny. Like he started selling stuff. He just bailed on everything. He just took off. He was like, fuck this, and he left for a while. And I was like, you joined the circus? And he's like, yeah, man, it's crazy. So that's what he did.
One of the best things I like about this movie, though, is that they actually used real performers, real freaks.
Yeah, it made it difficult on them by doing that, but
like Johnny Ack.
Yeah,
I mean, he was huge. Back, did Ringling Brothers, and you know what I mean.
They were mostly all like aren't there pictures of them like with Ringling Brothers like photos and stuff? Like most of these performers were. I
mean, there are some like
circus
freaks.
Just made to look.
Well, they were just like the Bird Lady. Like I forget what she had.
Right, she just had that look.
Yeah, so I mean, and there was a couple other ones. There was a few bird people in that movie, but I mean,
there are whole parts that are cut out of the film. Like I know they wrote like specific parts for certain performers that you just see in the background now, which we lost all of it.
Well, the duck lady suit was like one of the
one
last,
on the end,
yeah,
for
yeah,
Cleopatra,
like
how
the
she ends
last
up as a freak.
homages to Lon Chaney.
Yeah, who was friends with Tod Browning.
Yeah, because it was made for him in fucking movie was it?
And he passed away.
West of Zanzibar.
Huh.
That was like the duck suit looking thing was created for him for Lon Chaney.
What context was that duck suit intended to be used?
I don't know. I hadn't seen the movie, so I don't know. But
Crazy.
yeah, that was cool. You know, Tod Browning definitely liked to pay tribute to
His old pal.
yeah.
I know that this movie was supposed to have Lon Chaney in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
but he was dead.
I thought the cinematography was really good in this movie. Like, I was
Yeah.
noticing that actually the last pass through, like the lighting, the way they like set up films. I mean, it's really beautifully filmed.
Of course, it's Tod Browning.
He really was talented.
Made like the most beautiful film ever, Dracula.
Yeah.
It's up there. It really is up there.
So
It's
we get-
gorgeous.
Another scene I like from this movie is when they're getting ready to like let the shit hit the fan, and they're in Hans's train car, or not train car, but
Trailer.
wagon
Wagon.
with Cleopatra, and they all start pulling out their weapons. When he's like, "Hey, give me the bottle," I'm like, oh, and then the fucking little, guy with the switchblade, and he's like,
Yeah.
wiping it out, and then Johnny Eck pulls out the little gun and starts cleaning it with his cloth. I was like, oh yeah.
It's a good movie, and there you can tell there's a great movie there. Like, I don't feel like it's a great movie only because MGM fucked it up. Like, there obviously was more there that I think I would have loved, but I definitely think it's a classic, and I think people need to see it. And I really like that we cover these old movies because I feel like people need to think about them again.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have seen this, but then I'm not so sure because I thought a lot of people would have seen fucking Silver Bullet, and apparently not.
I think that this is a movie that's widely known, and if you've seen it, it affects you, especially when you were a kid.
Oh,
you
it
carry
affects me.
You carry it with you. You really remember
I
it.
have
It really,
to watch it every October.
Yeah.
It's part of
That's
my
interesting.
Halloween list.
I mean, I know some of you have probably watched American Horror Story, shit all over this concept, but you should really watch the original. It's worth it.
If you haven't.
If you haven't. If you have, watch it again, because there's a lot there. There's a lot to notice. Subtle things to, and as you study this film, there's so much to it. It's really crazy. And it's just a reminder of how shitty people could be about stuff. I mean, they just buried this film because they just couldn't handle the reality of
Reality.
the reality of reality, This should have been, and it was intended to celebrate these people and to make it interesting. I mean, it was a horror film. It was supposed to be a dark movie, a follow-up to Dracula, but he was trying to make a point that the freaks were better and were, more human than normal humans. And I thought that's a pretty noble point. So how many zombie candy corns would you guys give it?
I'm gonna give it a solid 4 cute little zombie candy corn
I agree.
pinheads.
4.
Wow.
The butchered version. I probably would give the actual original version a 5 because there's the framework of a great movie, and I think it's a good movie and a classic and visually really interesting. But I agree. I think it got.
I feel like it's a pretty important movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm giving it a 4.
I think it's an important movie. I agree.
Yeah,
I think
I
everyone
mean-
should see it. I think horror fans should see it. I think people should see it. Think about it.
And remember, I mean, it is a movie from the 30s. So it's not, and it's chopped up a lot.
More like a stage play.
Yeah.
It's a choppy stage play. What about
Kinda.
you?
It's like a 5 for me.
Yeah, 'cause you
Yeah.
love this movie.
Yeah. It's also short and sweet. I love it.
So you like that.
I like that it's really short.
I wonder if his script survived his original script. Maybe that's how everyone knows what was intended. Sorry, Jan. Maybe that's how everyone knows what was intended by it, because maybe the script exists. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's documentation of it. I doubt there's any actual footage.
No, they burned that.
I mean, the uncircumcised version played for a little bit, right? They played that one.
Just that one weekend and one time, and the print was pulled. And they only played because they didn't have time to stop it. I mean, everybody was crazy on this. Cecil B. DeMille tried to... Cecil B. DeMille. Louis B. Mayer from MGM tried to shut it down.
I want to see that uncircumcised dick.
Cecil B. Demented.
I don't know where.
Do you guys want to see that
Uncircumcised freak dick? Hell
Freak
yeah.
dick?
Freak dick.
I want to see
Freaking
that
dicky.
uncircumcised freak dick.
I'm incredibly uncomfortable by what's happening in front of me, and I don't know what's going on.
Look like a goddamn hot dog in a sock.
On that note, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode. The basic idea is that you should go watch Freaks if you haven't, and if you have, you should watch it again. Shotzi says so. So, I guess that's it.
Good night, folks.
See you later.
That's all.
Suck my uncircumcised freak dick.
Freak dick.
Freak dick.
Help me. Google Gobble.
You're one of us, Dominic.
Oh, God, help me.
Freaky dicky duck dick.
You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show, and if we're right or if we're wrong, or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well, Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin' E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin' E. That's screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davy, you can find my artwork at dominicdavy.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com, or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
We accept a one of us. We accept a one of us. Gooba gobble, gooba gobble. We accept her, we accept her. Gooba gobble, gooba gobble. One of us, one of us. Gooba gobble.